if you're gonna make a series, you need to have a hook, and the hook needs to be good. And the chapter one of the hook needs to be baller. And unfortunately, I just got done reading this isekai, and the hook just wasn't there for me. So, ready for this? Let me lick the lips. I read Princess Reincarnation, the legendary archmage becomes a princess knight and creates a legendary order of lady knights and becomes unrivaled. I mean, man, talk about your standard isekai title. Princess Reincarnation, the legendary archmage becomes a princess knight and creates a legendary order of lady knights and becomes unrivaled. Holy holy crap. But like, it starts off like, as you would, you have in any like fantasy RPG, isekai style manga where you have like a party of characters and heroes, travelers, and they're on some mission. This like demon lord guy's like, I'm gonna freaking defeat you guys, sends out like a big blast, and then the mage is like, no, and he like freaking takes one for the team, and the guy's like, Alex, and Alex dies. Alex is dead. And what you realize is that in like this world, like there's two types of tiers. There's nobility and not nobility. And if you are noble, you have basically God's blessings and powers to be like awesome warriors. But if you are not noble, like you can like just learn how to do some things, but you'll never be like as good. And so this guy Laius, who is the noble person in their party of heroes, he's the guy who survives. Alex like sacrifices himself, and Laius like goes on to like defeat everyone. But standard isekai stuff. Alex wakes up and he is a baby, and he's a girl, and he's about to get assassinated as a baby, and he just blasts this like assassin into oblivion, and his mom's like, oh my gosh. And anyways, he becomes a teenage girl, obviously grows up, and he just like has these aspirations to be better than Laius. So he's like, I've got to like train to become better. But as a girl, she's not allowed to do this kind of magical stuff, and there's so much scrutiny around it. Like the maid is like, no, that's not good. The butler's like, no, I'm not going to train you. Even the mom is like, knock it off, trying to be like this swordsman, like with all these powers. So anyways, the mom is so sick of this, of like these dreams of being amazing, that she literally tells the butler to like beat up her daughter to prove that, hey, she's not a good warrior. Well, the butler tries to strike her, and like totally misses, as you can see, and she wipes the floor with him, and and then that's it. And then that's how the chapter ends, is everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's so good. And the chapter ends with like, my boisterous second life started, because now it's like, okay, now everyone's gonna respect me. The only problem that I have with like this chapter is that like when you create a series and you want people to get into the series, you need to have like this hook that makes people go like, holy crap, I need to know more. And if anything, all it's saying is like, hey, like you're gonna go this is the direction that we're going. Like, oh look, you showed everyone that you had powers, and now everyone's gonna respect you. Like there's no like conflict. Where's the what's gonna happen? A great example of is the Promised Neverland. I honestly think that the Promised Neverland has one of the best manga first chapters out there. So like what you have is you have these kids, and they live in an orphanage, and they get excited that at 12 they're going to get adopted, or I think that's like the age that they like the max age that they have until they get adopted. But they're supposed to train, they're supposed to get really smart, they're taking all these exams, they're supposed to be physically fit, and everyone's just excited. They love their mom, who's like the nanny in there. And one day this little girl is like, yo, it's her turn to get adopted. And Emma, the redhead, is like, oh my gosh, so exciting. And then the little girl, she like leaves her stuffy, Connie, she leaves her stuffed animal at the orphanage, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, like Connie loves this stuffed animal. We got to get it to her. They run to her past the gates they're not supposed to, and they find Connie dead. And they're like, holy crap, why is Connie dead? Like, look, like they're so happy. Like their mom is like, don't worry, everything's going to be great. And then they find that these demons have Connie and they've killed her and that they're going to eat her. And that this is what happens when you leave the orphanage, is that that mom has made a deal with the demons, and then they feed off of the children. And so by the end of chapter 1, you're like, holy crap, like we've spent the first 30 pages thinking that this is like everything is happy, everything is honky-dory, and then we get to this page, you're like, holy crap, this is not a good situation, this is dark, what are we gonna do? And so then you have the characters now deciding like, okay, like how are we getting out of this place? What are we going to do to escape so that we can protect the other children? And so like to me, like it adds like this level of conflict and mystery where you're like, I've got to keep reading so I can figure out what happens next. And unfortunately, with this isekai, Princess Reincarnation, the legendary archmage becomes a princess knight and creates a legendary order of lady knights and becomes unrivaled, just didn't have like that thing, that special sauce that makes you go like, I want to read more of this. I want to know what's gonna happen next, because if anything, it's just letting you know like, hey, it's kind of like with the story where like if you have a story and every next part is like, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and there's no like real consequences or conflicts or things that are like driving the story, like outside forces. It just sounds like this person is just going in a straight line with this story. And honestly, like it made it semi boring. Like if the hook is like, oh, the person turn into a girl, it's like that's not a good hook anymore. People are doing that all the time on Twitter and on Instagram. They're saying that they're girls. It's not a good hook anymore. If anything, it's kind of annoying. And the first thing that they do is the first thing in our world when you decide to become a girl is you decide to take up female sports and like get Olympic medals and shit. So it's just different. And so it's just not a good hook. A better hook, I think a better hook would have been that you find out that she meets up with Laius, and that Laius is like her father. And then you're like, oh shit, like now like there's this relationship because like Laius is her father, and she's harboring all this like, I want to be better than you, and now she's got to be better than her father. And maybe there'll be a moment where they have a moment and she's like, Dad, I'm actually Alex, or something like that. Or a better hook would be that she falls in love with Laius, and you're like, oh shit, like they're gonna date, and at some point they're gonna be in bed and they're gonna lay down, and she's gonna go, hey Laius, and he's gonna be like, what, sweetheart? And she's like, I'm Alex reincarnated, what up? And he's gonna be like, oh crap, like you gotta give me a hook. Those are a little more comedic. Like that was like the one I just gave was more of a comedic hook, and then the one beforehand was more like a drama-filled hook. But you got to give some kind of hook. So will I be reading more of this? Probably not. It didn't do a good enough job to entice me. But man, Princess Reincarnation, the legendary archmage becomes a princess knight and creates a legendary order of lady knights and becomes unrivaled. I mean, that's quite a title. Guys. Go check out My Sexy Witch Academia, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's the finale of the very first arc of the series. Harriet Pope is a new student at Raven's Academy for Wizards and Witches. She also has a dark secret. She's the most powerful witch in the world, and she's being hunted. My Sexy Witch Academia, number 4, continues with the story of Harriet Pope, a student at Raven's Academy who has a dark secret. She's the most powerful witch in the world. Harriet has been tasked alongside Professor Aiden to find the Chaos Shards of the Dark Lord and to destroy them. After finally getting access to the magic needed to track the location of the Chaos Shards, Harriet uncovers the awful sacrifice that she'll need to make to destroy the Chaos Shards. her friends will need to die. Guys, we have this awesome story. The art is freaking fantastic. Tommy did a fantastic job, as always. But man, like, we got some crazy art that came in like last minute. Like, look how amazing this cover turned out to be. Like, just freaking fantastic. Like, seriously, we have some amazing artists. Plus, if you want to get like the other books I have, feel free to they're all available. So yeah, fantastic series. So guys, go check it out. Link in the description. You guys have a fantastic day. Peace out.